is the concept of, you mentioned the steering committee, absolutely important. I'm always shocked. I think one of my biggest consulting initiatives when I go to companies is I often coach sponsors and steering committees because they're all willing and ready. But I always ask some subtle questions. I think a lot of them are not really aware of what their active role is. They know what their passive role is, but not what their active role is in project management.
Passive, you mean to be informed? Active is to take on responsibility and make decisions.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Passive, I mean, I think most of them understand that they have power, okay? But the question is active. Are they actively seeking out information? Are they steering?
Correct.
Are they just sitting back and waiting for you to, as we say in German, berieselt werden? I just want the information to kind of drip down on me, but I want to take a shower, but I don't want to get wet type mentality. So that's it. And the other hot topic is PMOs, because PMO is quasi. You talked about there's things that are bigger than projects that have a longer life cycle, programs. You also mentioned SAP, who is also an organization that I work with. We're actually doing a podcast with them later on this year.
All right.
Because I love their SAP Act. One of the greatest things I like about their SAP Activate thing is this, what you mentioned, this discovery and evaluation phase, where they said there's something that happens before a project that's relevant to a project, the business case. Right? And you also mentioned something we had a gentleman on before, Oliver Lehmann from Munich, who has this concept of project business management that says, listen, let's stop pretending that all projects are the same. There's internal projects and there's external projects, and there's a correlation and there's a lot of overlap. But if you have a business case, as you mentioned, it makes a difference. It's different in comparison to creating a product or delivering something to your client. And that also requires a certain sensitivity. You've answered part of the question I'm going to ask you now. If you would look at the present, what are the challenges we're facing? Or what are the trends that you see?
Well, in order to establish new stuff, obviously you have to be critical against the existing.
Yeah.
And this is good, but also bad, because the whole movement of agile frameworks, agility, and so on came with a lot of criticism regarding classical, traditional project management. And this is bad, in my opinion, because I think we have to use the best of both worlds. So when we talk about projects, you can not only manage a project in an agile way. I only see hybrid projects, which means if we have something which is a project and it has a certain complexity, then of course you have to, maybe using the terminology of agile frameworks, you have to run different waves, which are project phases, and some of these waves can be done in an agile way, so you can apply Scrum or whatsoever, but you still need a project framework and you need project roles like a project manager and so on. And it's not enough to have your Scrum Masters. You can have those for your Scrum teams or development teams whatsoever. So I think there's the beautiful thing is that new things pop up and they need to be considered. There's learning chances, and you need to integrate them in existing frameworks and contexts. And this is where we stand today, in my opinion, that there's agile frameworks like you mentioned MBO before. Now we call it OKR. Fine.
Same thing in a different dress.
Correct. Why not? It's beautiful. It focuses on the communication process much more. It's applied to organizational units and not to individuals only. So it makes a lot of sense. And in my opinion, appropriate project objectives planning, of course, is a major topic. And if OKR can support that, hey, that's beautiful. And there's design thinking and there's prototyping. And this thinking in smaller units relates to this chain of projects concept I mentioned before very shortly, that not the whole life cycle here is to be perceived as the project, but maybe you do a prototype first and then only you go into a series production development or whatever it is. So I think there are new concepts that are very helpful, but there's a need to integrate that appropriately in project management. And there's a lot of understanding required. And there are methods. The methods are easy to teach and also to understand. But the challenge is the mindset which is required for that, because the mindset within the own organization, if you structure the way of working differently, if you apply new decision-making methods like prototyping or design thinking processes or whatever it is, but also in the cooperation with your clients, because that means that you have to have the same understanding on how you work, what your responsibilities are. We for sure need integrative project organizations where you have representatives from your client organizations to take on responsibility for what's happening in the project, because if you are a delivering organization, you need the task to be performed by the client organizations, not only in terms of testing, but in terms of defining your user stories or whatever, setting priorities. So it's a whole new mindset of how collaboration actually works. And this is very, very challenging to be achieved. And there is a lot still to be done. I guess the concepts are here, but to get it really understood and implemented in organizations, we are far away.